Caitlyn Clark's return, lads. Caitlyn Clark's return. On ABC, nationally televised game.
Guys, Caitlyn Clark is officially back, okay, for the Indiana Fever. Guys, the Indiana Fever just gave the freaking New York Liberty their first L. They first L of the season. I was wondering, I'm like, who is it going to...
Caitlyn Clark just dropped 32 points like it was pocket change, and guess who got slapped with the receipt? The undefeated Liberty. That's right, the Indiana Fever just woke up and chose violence. Was it a game or a one-woman revenge tour with a basketball? Either way, Caitlyn brought the heat, the sass, and the scoreboard-shattering drama. Stick around because what went down wasn't just a win, it was a monster movie, and Clark played every role.
Back again. Caitlyn's back. Tell Caitlyn Clark Kent back in action. Where do I even start? 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 threes, 11 for 20 in only 31 minutes of basketball. The Indiana Fever say, come on, New York. Come on. Somebody's got to give you this first L, and I guess it's going to be us.
Caitlyn Clark didn't just show up to the court. She showed up with sniper vision, a rocket launcher for an arm, and a casual disregard for the rules of physics. She pulled up from 30 feet like it was nothing. Scratch that. More like 30 yards. At this point, someone should check if she's accidentally wandered in from an NFL training camp, because those shots were coming from another zip code, and they weren't D-15-7. Esperate prayers. They were precision airstrikes with zero remorse.
That's how you feel, Caitlyn, after missing 4 games from a quad injury? That's how you feel when you come back? What the hell did we just watch? Caitlyn Clark in her absolute Birkin, able to get her team a victory over the undefeated New York Liberty. Let's talk about it. So as I discussed before, Caitlyn Clark, this is her first game back in 4 or 5 games after dealing with the quad injury. And she did not disappoint. Came out with 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, almost a triple-double. But 7 3-pointers, y'all. And she was hitting them from 40 feet. Like, she was literally shooting from anywhere.
32 points. Let that sink in. That's not a basketball performance. That's a solo Broadway show with a full house, and every act ends with a swish. She tied her career high in threes and looked bored doing it. Blink, and she's already pulling up from the logo like it's a warm-up drill. Meanwhile, the Liberty, those formerly undefeated darlings of the WNBA, were busy trying to figure out if they were actually in a game or just extras in the Caitlyn Clark experience.
And most elite performances we have ever seen from Caitlyn Clark. Now, I got to remind everybody about this. Caitlyn Clark is coming off an injury, bro. What we seen today was greatness. This was similar to the Michael Jordan flu game. I mean, it's up there type deal, bro. Caitlyn Clark just handed the New York Liberty the ass whooping of a lifetime. And what's crazy about all of this is that the referees couldn't even save them. See, last time the referees was able to save New York, and they walked away with the victory.
And then, somewhere far, far away, in the same building, Angel Reese was doing her usual routine. You know, collecting rebounds like she's hoarding them for winter. Rebounding, tossing the ball in the air like she just don't care. 10 rebounds, 4 points, and enough posing to qualify for a modeling contract. But if you ask her, she's still the main event, the crown jewel.
All right, guys, Caitlyn Clark is back in the WNBA today, and I could not be happier. And to start off the game with the New York Liberty, she is putting on a show. First clip we're going to watch here is Sabrina Ionescu missing a 3 because she wants to be Caitlyn and she just isn't. And look at this dime of a pass. Oh my gosh, can you just be a quarterback already? But then it gets better. Caitlyn goes on a 9-0 run by herself within the span of 50 seconds.
The face of the league. Never mind that Caitlyn just lit up the court like a fireworks finale on the 4th of July. Angel's busy reminding everyone that she brings the flavor. Here's the hilarious part. Reese is out here moving like a walking double-double of ego and hustle, but the scoreboard forgot to invite her to the celebration. Her shot chart looks like a horror movie, red all over and nothing falling. She's under the rim, tossing up bricks like she's laying a foundation for a new stadium. But hey, she got rebounds. The kind of rebounds that scream, "Don't worry, team, I got the miss again." It's like Caitlyn's playing chess in 5D and Angel's over here playing hungry, hungry hippos with rebounds. And yet, Angel keeps talking like she's got the WNBA wrapped around her perfectly manicured finger. She keeps insisting that she's bringing eyes to the league, that it's not just Caitlyn. Which is technically true because yes, people are watching to see Caitlyn torch the court while Angel slow dances with the glass. The real question is, are those eyes tuning in for the buckets or for the drama? Because Clark's feeding us Steph Curry range while Reese is serving up WWE energy with zero offensive highlights to match.
288, we finally hit triple digits thanks to CC22. Caitlyn Clark, folks, 3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. Caitlyn Clark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlyn Clark we all said, oh, she's different. She's sent from outer space. The Caitlyn Clark that we saw today was the Caitlyn Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels...
There's a difference between being talked about and being watched. Caitlyn Clark is watched. Every game, every shot, every time she crosses half court and defenders collectively hold their breath like they're on a roller coaster. Angel Reese, she's talked about for antics, for posing, for her rivalry with Caitlyn that feels more like a one-sided diary entry at this point. Let's face it, you can't slap together some rebounds, sprinkle in a scowl, and call it superstardom. The game still matters. The scoreboard still matters. The shot clock doesn't pause for attitude. Caitlyn Clark didn't just show up. She dominated. She wasn't padding stats. She was shattering narratives. Meanwhile, Reese was out there like a motivational speaker trapped in a power forward's body, preaching her importance while missing layups like it was a paid hobby. Caitlyn's threes were demoralizing, not just for the Liberty, but for anyone who thought this girl was going to fade into the background after that rough start to her rookie season. Oh no, now she's warmed up. Now she's figured it out. The passes are sharper, the spacing is tighter, and the shots? They're absurd. We're talking long-range artillery. Steph-level bombs from so far out the ball has to file a flight plan. Every time Caitlyn launched, it was like time froze. The crowd held its breath, defenders flinched, and commentators lost their collective minds. You don't get that kind of reaction unless you're box office.
Would you look at that? Caitlyn Clark putting another game together that proves that she is the reason why people are watching the WNBA. And definitely not because of Angel Reese. In her very first game back from injury, she puts up 32, 8, and 9. Okay? Super close to a triple-double on over 50% shooting from the field and 50% shooting from the three-point line. And not only did she have a great performance, but she also led her team to a 14-point victory, so not even a close game, against a team that was previously undefeated and arguably the best team in the WNBA on her first game back.
Meanwhile, Angel could make a shot and the crowd might still be mid-scrawl on their phones. That's not superstardom, that's background noise. Let's talk swagger. Caitlyn's got that silent, deadly type, the kind where she drops a deep three and jogs back like she's thinking about dinner. Reese? She's got enough bravado to power a small nation, but the numbers don't lie. You can't strut your way out of a single-digit scoring column and pretend it's dominant. You can't flex after every missed jumper and expect people to buy the illusion. Caitlyn's confidence is backed by buckets, Reese's is backed by branding, and there's a massive difference. Caitlyn isn't just making noise, she's making history. Rookie records? She's rewriting them. Viewership numbers? She's boosting them. She's putting the basketball in women's basketball. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is running the best PR campaign the scoreboard has never heard of. If marketing were a stat, she'd be averaging 40. But we're watching the games, not just the pressers, and the gap is widening. Caitlyn Clark is evolving game by game, slicing up defenses, turning defenders into traffic cones, and dragging the Indiana Fever from laughingstock to giant slayer. Her passes are surgical, her movement is elite, her confidence is radioactive, and she does it all while carrying the weight of a league's expectations and half the country's eyeballs. Angel Reese? She's still boxing out like the rim owes her money, and shooting like the ball's allergic to nylon.
Reese is under fire from the Chicago Sky general manager. The general manager names Angel Reese by name and says, "We need more out of you." Now I'm scrolling through Twitter, doing my thing. You guys know how I do. Got the air breezing through my hair in those Twitter streets. I do. And I take a look and I see something that catches my attention. The Chicago Sky make a request to Angel Reese amid losing streak. Interesting. What is this request?
But sure, let's keep pretending it's a rivalry. Let's pretend this is Ali vs. Frazier, when really it's more like Caitlyn Clark versus her own potential. Because that's her biggest competition at this point, herself. The ceiling keeps rising, and so does she. She's not just raising the bar, she's turning it into a launch pad. Meanwhile, Angel's still stuck on the ground floor, waving from the rebound pile. It's hilarious, really. The constant reminders that it's not just Caitlyn have started to sound like the jealous cousin at a birthday party who insists their gift was better, even though everyone's crowding around Caitlyn's highlight reel. It's not that Angel doesn't matter, it's that her claim to the throne feels premature. You can't declare yourself royalty if the scoreboard keeps saying otherwise. Caitlyn didn't ask to be the face of the WNBA, she earned it. Shot by shot, win by gritty win. Even when Indiana was losing, people still watched because she was doing things no rookie had any business doing. Now she's winning, and doing it while taking down the top team in the league with a casual 32-going mic drop. Angel Reese might be good for headlines, Caitlyn Clark is good for the game. So yes, it's not just Caitlyn who brings eyes to the WNBA. But let's be honest, she's the reason most people stay. Apparently, Caitlyn Clark had been out for 4 straight games. 4. That's practically a basketball eternity. Enough time to reset, recharge, maybe even pick up a new hobby like demolishing elite WNBA teams for fun.
Able to hit the long ball at a very, very high efficiency rate today, 7 for 14 from long distance, shooting 50%. I'm not gonna lie, shooting the three-pointer 14 times is wild in one game. But listen, when you hitting it like that, why not? Lexi Hall, another decent game from her, 14 points, shooting 50% from the field. And then we have Aaliyah Boston with 10 points, 11 boards, and 6 assists. Another almost triple-double for her. Great bounce-back game for Indiana because they have severely been struggling without Caitlyn. Child, I know they're happy she's back on that floor because they look like a completely different team when she's in her.
And what does she do after a mini vacation? She strolls back in like she never left and immediately torches the undefeated Liberty like they were a junior varsity experiment. She didn't come back rusty, she came back radioactive. If anything, the break just gave her time to sharpen her laser-guided threes and fine-tune her mid-air wizardry. And while Caitlyn was reintroducing herself like a polite hurricane, Angel Reese was still out here collecting rebounds like Pokemon cards and tossing up layups that bounce off the rim like they're allergic to going in. There's levels to this game, and Caitlyn's on a different continent. Angel's out there fighting for table scraps in the paint, while Caitlyn's casually launching bombs from the suburbs, sipping espresso, and asking defenders if they even want to be here. Let's not sugarcoat it. The so-called Reese versus Clark rivalry? It's fiction. Fairy tale. A marketing myth cooked up in a boardroom by someone who's clearly never watched a full quarter, because when you see them play, it's crystal clear. Caitlyn Clark isn't competing with Angel Reese. She's not even looking in that direction. She's too busy rearranging the WNBA hierarchy, one 30-yard three-pointer at a time. Reese might talk like she's in the ring with Caitlyn, but the truth is, she's barely in the same arena. Caitlyn is out here making professionals look like practice cones. She's dropping passes on a dime, controlling the tempo like a conductor with a grudge, and hitting shots that defy logic. Meanwhile, Angel's still figuring out how to finish a putback without tripping over her own narrative.
People who've been unjustly maligned in history. I feel like it's 1-2 for me. I'm not sure who's first and who's second, but it's pretty clearly Angel Reese and Jesus Christ. How does Angel Reese handle it. If you don't want the criticism, maybe consider what the behavior is. Because is this kind of criticism directed at everybody? Or is this a very special, specific kind of criticism that Angel Reese gets because of specifically the way she comports herself? And if her crown is heavy, maybe BET should stop giving her crowns. For the third straight year, named BET Sportswoman of the Year. I haven't even known who Angel Reese was for 3 years. How the f does she have 3 of these?
And let's be honest, if this were a rivalry, it would at least be close. But this is more like a roast. Caitlyn Clark is the roast master, and Angel Reese is the confused guest wondering why the spotlight keeps burning her. It's not that Angel isn't good. She is. She's got grit. She hustles. She sweats. But Caitlyn? Caitlyn is great. Not just in terms of skill, but in how she takes over games like a hostile takeover. She doesn't just score. She dictates reality. There's a brutal comedy to it all. Reese puts up a 10-point double-double and does 3 press tours about her impact. Caitlyn drops 32 like it's a TikTok trend and jogs off the court like she's late for lunch. The difference in output is as glaring as the difference in mindset. Caitlyn's playing chess with a sniper scope. Reese is still fumbling with the checkers box. Even their impact on the court tells the story. When Caitlyn's on, the whole team elevates. The Fever play faster, cleaner, and more dangerous. She doesn't just score, she bends gravity, draws attention, and creates space like she invented basketball geometry. And when she's off the court, the Fever limp along like they're waiting for their Uber driver to show up with their leader. Reese, on the other hand, could grab 20 rebounds and still disappear from the game flow like a bad Wi-Fi signal. She racks up board and swagger, but the actual impact? It's like buying a luxury car and realizing there's no engine under the hood. Looks flashy, makes noise, doesn't go far. The reality is this: Caitlyn makes Angel Reese look like a schoolgirl cosplaying as a superstar. She's outclassed, outpaced, outperformed in nearly every meaningful metric.
Against the Connecticut Sun, but this is Caitlyn Clark. How could I be so foolish? Caitlyn Clark probably said, I want to come back to the most eyeballs possible. You guys are about to see what I'm going to do. I want to come back to the most eyeballs possible. Clear 2 million or more. Yeah, 2 million or more. I want to come back and show you guys what I am made of. She is the only player in the league so far averaging 20 points per game, 5 rebounds per game or more, 5 assists or more per game. Caitlyn Clark is back.
And the worst part? Caitlyn's doing it with a calm demeanor that almost feels disrespectful. No over-the-top gestures, no posturing, just clean execution and scoreboard dominance. It's not a rivalry when one side is scoring in slow motion from outer space and the other is doing cardio under the rim. You could slap a rivalry sticker on it and try to sell it to the networks, but fans aren't blind. They see the gap. Caitlyn Clark's game is poetry in motion with a flamethrower. Angel Reese, she's the background percussion. Important in theory, barely noticed in execution. Caitlyn didn't just come back and perform, she returned with a vengeance. The Liberty weren't just beaten, they were schooled. And Angel, still chasing rebounds like they're going out of style and refusing to accept that she's being lapped at a speed she can't comprehend. Clark's return wasn't just dominant, it was symbolic. It sent a clear message. While others are building their brand, Caitlyn is building a legacy, and you can feel the tension. Reese tries to keep the "it's not just Caitlyn" energy alive, but every time Clark steps on the court, the myth gets steamrolled by actual talent.
The last remaining undefeated WNBA team, the New York Liberty, is undefeated no more. They have just been handed their first loss by Caitlyn Clark's return and then Indiana Fever in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and wow, was it an electric game. Caitlyn Clark absolutely popped off in her return and turned 32 points, 9 points in 33 seconds, like back-to-back-to-back threes. Kelsey Mitchell with another 22. AB had a great game. Lexi Hull had a great game. Sophie Cunningham was back. I rated this one on Rate Game a 9.4. It was that good. If you're not following me on Rate Game, go follow me. It's a fantastic app. You can rate the games, how good they were, what you liked about them, etc.
Every time Caitlyn lights up the scoreboard, the fake rivalry narrative cracks a little more. Reese can scream co-star all she wants, but she's looking more like an understudy in a show that's already sold out with Caitlyn's name on the marquee. And that's what's really gnawing at her. Not just that Clark is better, but but that she's undeniably better and doesn't have to campaign for relevance. Let's not forget the biggest irony here. Angel Reese has built her brand around being the villain, the competitor, the one who's not afraid to speak out, and yet her game refuses to back up the bark. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark has kept it clinical, letting the ball talk while she casually dismantles the opposition. You don't need a rivalry when one player's already 15 steps ahead. At some point you have to call it what it is. Caitlyn Clark isn't in a rivalry, she's on a solo mission, and the rest of the league is just trying to survive the fallout. Angel Reese isn't her foil, she's her footnote. The hustle might be there, the ambition might be burning, but the talent gap, it's wider than ever. Caitlyn's 4-game break only made it more obvious. She didn't lose rhythm, she found a new one, a faster one, a louder one. And Angel Reese? Still running the same tired beat, hoping nobody notices that the scoreboard doesn't play favorites. Because when the buzzer sounds and the dust settles, one name echoes louder than any narrative, louder than any rebound, louder than any press conference. Caitlyn Clark. And the rest? Well, Sintry. And something tells us